This
23rd
conference will now be recorded.
meeting of the Rome City Council will come to order. We do have a quorum. We have Elaine Priest who's out this evening. Say what? She is. Okay, very good. All right. Let's do our invocation, please. Pastor Van Zandt.
Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I pray that you'll please us be with this session, and I pray that you'll please us allow those who are governing body to make the proper decisions that you would have for the city of Rome. I pray that you'll please us allow just our those who represent the city to make the best decisions for the patrons of Rome and for the future of this city, Lord. God, I pray that you'll please us be with the first responders as well, and I pray that you'll put a hedge of protection around them as they're out patrolling our streets and as they're attending to the needs of the citizens here. I pray that you'll please us allow us to be thankful for them, and I'm certainly thankful for them. And I pray that you'll please us bring them home safely tonight to their family. And I pray that you'll please us to continue to be with this city and just have your hand upon it. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay, we'll go into public comments. The council is not permitted to take action on or discuss any comments made to the council at this time concerning an item not listed on the agenda. However, a council member or mayor may make a statement of fact regarding the item, make a statement concerning the policy regarding the item, and or may propose that the item be placed on the future agenda or direct the city administrator to contact the individual to address. If you are attending the meeting via live streaming and you would like to make a public comment, you must email the city secretary at citysecretary@cityofrome.com prior to 4 p.m. on the day of meeting and must identify each subject you plan to present to be recognized. If the writer of a public comment is unable to read their own comment, it should be given to a friend, family member, or associate that is able to attend in person and read the statement in their stead. Public comments made in person require the speaker to submit the sign-up form to the city secretary prior to the meeting, and the form must identify each subject the speaker plans to present. A statement of no more than 3 minutes may be made. There will be no yielding of time to another person. Comments should be directed to the entire council, not individual members. Engaging in verbal attacks or comments intended to insult, abuse, malign, or slander any individuals shall be cause for termination of time privileges and removal from council chambers. Okay, Ms. Shana Odom.
All right, our first speaker is Heather Hockett. She's speaking on electronic billboards, light needed at Bywell, and another access to 287 from 114.
Good evening. My name is Heather Hockett. I have been a resident of Rome since November of 2015, and we live in Bywell Estates, my husband and my 12-year-old daughter. And I would like to address the upcoming possibility of the electronic billboard. I feel like it is a distraction and coming down 114. We do not need a bunch of distractions to take our attention from the roadway. Am I allowed to talk about the light too, or is that okay? So also I feel like we need a light at Bywell, and it's very dangerous. I personally have had one neighbor who was almost killed while pulling out of our subdivision, and I understand that that's TxDOT, but I hope and pray that we can all gather together and request a light at that intersection. I have a soon-to-be driving child, and my neighbor also has children who are driving, and it's very dangerous. Also, if we could possibly figure out a way to get another access road to 287 from 114, so we do not have to sit in traffic for 40 minutes at that county road, crossing the railroad tracks. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great night.
Our next speaker is Joanne Wilson. She'll be speaking on election and Easter.
Hi, I want to thank everybody that took the time to put in for council that's upcoming. And we've got some of you guys, we've got some new people. That tells me that we have people that care about our city. So your next project should be May the 6th, go vote. Secondly, we, not the city, but a group of concerned citizens are sponsoring a wonderful Easter egg hunt. The time will be on April the 1st, a Saturday, and roams will be from 1 to 3. We scooted ours down a little bit to accommodate kids being able to go to more than one Easter egg hunt. Our neighbors in New York have chosen to have theirs from 11 to 1. No, I'm screwed up. 10 to 1, 10 to 12. Anyhow, come to the Easter egg hunt whenever it is. I know right now I have over 2,000 eggs in my living room. So please come and pick up eggs. But we do thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Stephen Knight, and he will be speaking on the billboards.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Steve Knight, and I live at 1313 Prairie Point Drive. These are my personal thoughts and do not represent anyone else. On the regular agenda, item 2, there is an update on a request from someone wanting to install an electronic billboard, I believe along 114 east of Rome. Please keep in mind that a large flashing sign that can advertise several different businesses on a rotating basis designed to grab the attention of drivers as they drive by only takes away their attention of driving, thus creating the possibility of an accident. We all can agree that the stretch of Highway 114 within our ETJ and our city limits with a speed limit of 70 miles per hour, with many side roads that are uncontrolled, with cars wanting to enter the highway, needs every driver to concentrate on driving safely. Anyone who has seen such signs knows that the whole purpose of them is to get your attention by bright and flashy advertising, and they only have a short time to get your attention and as you drive past. Also, since the sign can advertise for several different businesses, one might be watching to see what comes up next instead of watching the highway. Our roads along 114 do not need any more distractions. Thank you.
Our next public comment is Michelle Peterson, and she will be speaking on the Bywell Billboard intersection.
Hello, my name is Michelle Peterson, and I live in Bywell Estates, also. And I am here to speak against the billboard also. I have he just turned 18 this week, and a 19-year-old, both sons who are teenage boy drivers. And it terrifies me as it is that as soon as you pull out of our neighborhood, it's 70 miles an hour. And so to put another distraction in that area is terrifying. So I plead with you guys to not allow that to happen. In addition to that, I also want to kind of piggyback off of what Heather said in that a light would be very beneficial. My he just turned 18, but a 17-year-old new driver was driving to Walmart, and when he went to pull out, saw a man on a motorcycle be struck and run over right outside our neighborhood. And he still deals with that today. That's something no 17-year-old should have to see. And I know that those things happen all the time but I just want to reiterate, like, the fact that it's 70 miles an hour, I think could be changed in and of itself. Down by Shale Creek, it's 60, but right outside Bywell, it's still 70. We don't have a light. We don't have any way to tell people to slow down or anything like that. And so we have accidents regularly out there. I've lived there for nearly 2 years, and the amount of accidents I've seen, I've never compared to nothing any other place I've ever lived. So I played with you to maybe consider what we could do to change the safety, since we are part of the city. I would hope that the city could take part in that idea. Thank you.
That is the end of public comment.
All right, thank you. Announcements, planning and zoning meeting, March the 6th at 6:00 PM. Monthly bulk trash pickup, March the 7th. City council meeting, March 9th at 6 PM. And then apparently volunteer opportunity to help beautify City Hall flower beds.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. In the past, I understand that the Priest family has been a part of that venture of keeping the front part of City Hall looking attractive and helping augment the flowers that are there. They are not going to be available to do that this year, and if we have anyone else who would like to volunteer to be a part of that, please let us know.
Did you turn in your paper to speak? Yeah. Oh. Never mind. Okay. We'll go to the consent agenda.
We have announcements from the council.
Go.
Missed again, I know it was brought up tonight about that intersection. I know there was some discussion before. Can we please place that on the next agenda to see where we're at with discussions with the county? Because unfortunately, there's not much that we can do as a city, but as stated, maybe we can do something with the county to push that. Also, believe it or not, the weather is getting better, a little warmer. So these solicitors are out in large. So as a reminder, any company that is soliciting through the neighborhoods, every employee must have a badge to be able to do so. They must get that from the city. And if they do not present one, the proper protocol is to call 911 or the county dispatch, and they will dispatch local police to come out and find out if these solicitors do have the proper identification or not. So just make sure that you're careful with those. I know the one that came to my house was very pushy and did not want to leave. So please be careful answering the door and call the police if need be.
So, Mr. McCabe, by way of update, I actually had a call today from dispatch at the sheriff's office, and there seems to be concern of their being able to handle the call log for 911 calls, and they have asked that we have residents reach out through their non-emergency number. However, hearing the things that you have talked to us about people being aggressive, people trying to enter homes, I explained to the person at dispatch, she was very helpful, that we do have unusual solicitors that are either trying to enter someone's home or not taking no for an answer, and to our residents that can be seen as an emergency. And so we will likely put out both sets of numbers, both 911 again, as well as the non-emergency. But if you all feel threatened whatsoever, or you are not certain, you do need to call 911, because you are not trained individuals to determine what's an emergency necessarily versus another. And if you feel like you're being threatened in your home, you need to use that emergency number. If not, and you are used to calling non-emergency, you can do that as well. But that is a concern, and it has been in the neighborhood. And as a matter of fact, as I posted the solicitors, information on Facebook, it received several comments from individuals discussing some of the challenges that they've had. And we saw some interactions back and forth of our residents, which is very good, but it still is difficult to control in the best circumstances. Anybody else?
All right, we'll go to the consent agenda. But number 3, we'll pull that just to have a quick discussion on it.
The legislative platform?
No, number 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Number 2. Okay. Yeah, I'd like a quick discussion on number 2s, but we will go ahead and do the consent agenda for items 1, 3, and 4. Minutes of City Council regular session dated February 9th, 2023. Number 3, Resolution 2023-05 outlining a legislative platform statement for the 88th legislative session. Resolution 2023-06, authorizing the city's continued participation in the Atmos City Steering Committee.
A motion to approve consent agenda items 1, 3, and 4.
Okay.
A second.
And all in favor? We need an aye from Mrs. Priest.
Say it again, please.
Okay, very good. All right, public hearing. City council to conduct a public hearing to consider a replat.
Mayor,
What-
sorry, we need to go back to 2.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I didn't know if we were going to go on down, to pull it on down. Okay, resolution 2023-04, changing signers on the Logic account. As Mrs. DeGan was explaining to me, the Logic account is basically an investment. And what it has in there, $337,000, that's a residual of a bond that was approved by voters for the expansion to the East Side Sewage Plant back in 2019. Mrs. DeGan has suggested that 2 signatures be changed on that, which would include herself and the city secretary, Shana Odom. I believe that, well, I've got a couple of concerns. With it being an investment account off of, that's residual money from the bond, I don't know that, possible considerations might be to use those funds to actually pay down the bond and shorten the term of that. I believe it's a 40-year note on that. That's one option. But also, all of our other accounts, they require 2 signatures, either the city administrator or the city secretary, in addition to an elected official. Myself, at this time, it's either myself or Mr. McCabe, the mayor pro tem. So that's what I would suggest, is that we have more than just 2 signatures on there, on those. I believe with the funds being what they are and the residual off of the bond, I think we're limited as to what those funds could actually be spent on.
That is a true statement. And we don't write checks out of this account. So this does go through the normal channels that you talked about. If we need to make a draw on this, it is transferred out of the Logic account into the Wells Fargo's accounts, and then the checks are written from there.
Okay.
You would sign them. Shana would sign them as the treasurer of the municipality, and then it would go through the normal check and balance with Elaine doing the second check, if you will, as we reconcile the bank accounts. That was not something I knew when I talked to you earlier today.
Okay.
So it does proceed through that, since we don't actually access funds in there. Shana would be the primary person on the account. I should only have inquiry abilities, just so that we can keep it, we know what's happening and that we can make sure we're managing the fund. The reason we keep it in the Logic account is it does draw a considerable amount of higher interest than what our Wells Fargo checking does. So I would recommend we leave all of this in there, but I can certainly research how we would use the remainder of these funds, whether it's to pay down the debt or whether there are other upgrades to the East Plant that I'm unaware of.
Good with that. As far as withdrawing on it, it can only be withdrawn and put into a Wells Fargo, one of our
Right.
Wells Fargo accounts.
It's transferred into one of our other accounts and then goes through all the normal processes that checks do.
Thank you for that clarification. Quickly.
I actually did go in and verify that all the information is correct, and it is, so I'm not sure what the issue is, but people are able to sign in on the website. There's 9 people signed in. The access code is right at the bottom of the login right there. You can verify it on your agenda if you'd like. These are the numbers I was provided by GoToMeeting. The 517-317-3122 is the phone number, and the access code is 893-591-517.
You might tell them they could switch to the toll-free option, see if that works, because there is an 877 number also listed on the agenda, if they're not getting through on the 517 number.
All right, then on that last consent agenda item, resolution 2023-04. Thank you for the clarification, by the way, Mrs. Deanne. Change signers on the Logic account will essentially remain with Shana Odom and with oversight by Mrs. DeGan. So I need a motion on that one.
I make a motion to approve number 2 on the consent agenda.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. All right, we'll move on to public hearing.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. This is actually an item that came before P&Z and was approved and sent to council. This is essentially a replat of property, approximately 3 acres near or off of Hickory Street. The applicant is here. If you have questions, you need to open the public hearing.
All right, 6:21. We'll open the public hearing. City Council to conduct a public hearing to consider replat, one tract being legally described as acres 3.00, abstract A-817JC, also known as 401 East Hickory Street, Rome, Texas 76078. And we'll open the public hearing. Comments?
What are they replatting for? What are they wanting to do with the property?
Hi, I'm Paul Garcia. We're replotting for 8 lots. Okay, so there'll be 8 homes basically built. It's a 3-acre lot, so we're just subdividing it.
How many homes?
8. We're making, there's gonna be 8 separate lots. Okay, with us taking 2 of them. We're planning to build our own home, but we'll be taking 2 of them. But we'll build one house on one. We'll leave one lot open just for extra space. But then there'll be 6 additional lots for 6 additional homes.
And the replat does meet all of our requirements, our city requirements.
Is that the location? Is that when you make the left there on Second to Virginia and then it circles back around to Hickory?
Right when it
And
makes
it's
that
right
turn.
there, Bill Childress' property.
Yeah, we bought it from basically. Yeah.
Anybody else?
How big are those lots going to be?
They're all averaging over 10,000 square feet. It's about almost a quarter acre. 10,000 would be it's almost just a tad short of a quarter acre. Yes, sir. Yeah. We're a real estate company, basically. Yeah, we're a real estate company. That's what we do. We basically remodel, build. I'm also in the pool business. Yeah, I build swimming pools. So basically, we are single family homes, sir. Yes, correct.
Just a reminder, this is a public hearing for comment.
No problem. I can ask.
Yeah, you want to come up and since it is a public hearing. Come on up.
Make it quick.
It is quick, is that all of that property in our city limits. I've been told in years past that part of that property is county, part is Rome city limits. Somebody check it out.
Anybody else?
That was quick. 6:25. We'll close the public session or public hearing on that. Regular agenda, number 1, replat, one tract being legally described as acres 3.00, abstract A-817JC, also known as 401 East Hickory Street, Rome, Texas 76078.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe all the questions have been answered on this item, and as it is simply ministerial, P&Z has already approved this.
I make a motion to approve the replat.
Kathy? All right, all in favor? Okay. All right, number 2, electronic billboard request update on Highway 114.
Thank you, Mayor. We did hear, excuse me, some feedback from residents today from Bywell, as well as you have a considerable number of pages of electronic responses that Chief Davis received. That was one of the things that you had tasked him with last fall, is to obtain some feedback from those residents, as this was discussed at the latter part of 2022. The majority of those concerns that we hear or see in your email will mimic what you've heard today. There are concerns about traffic and congestion and light pollution and accidents at the intersection and just general feedback that this would take away from the attention of the drivers as they're coming into city. So the majority of those email responses were opposed to the installation of the billboard. The applicants, do they have a presentation? No, that did not come through. And I will remind council that this is currently prohibited in your zoning ordinances, and it would require a variance to that. And it would not be staff recommendation that we install this over in that area.
I've been against it the whole time, so I feel like that it's a dead issue almost.
Anyone else?
Okay. Moving right along. Number 3, Resolution 2023-07, Record Management Program for Retention and Destruction of Records per City Ordinances.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is something that I brought to you all in my update at the beginning of this month that staff have been working on for several weeks now. Excuse me. We are scanning and organizing city records into your electronic repository, which council approved as being the Laserfish electronic system. You also have several ordinances on record that requires a records management plan. I did find drafts of that in the past, so you may have considered it. However, I did not find one that had been officially approved, so I'm bringing such forward this evening so that we can move on with getting these organized, getting them scanned, getting them scheduled for destruction, as we are flat out of room for which to store any more paper documents. You will recall that on Friday afternoon, I sent you the records management policy and procedures. I did receive feedback from Councilmember Ty related to a few typos that I had in the document. Thank you for the reminder. And so I'm presenting it tonight for your review and approval, and I can quickly walk you through the things in the document unless there are specific questions that you'd like me to cover before considering the resolution.
I think again, it's just ministerial. Everybody's got one of these, so I motion to approve.
A second.
Okay, that was Casey on the second. Thank you. All in favor? Okay. Moving right along, number 4.
All right, thank you all. This item I put on the agenda today, as I have heard in my time here in Rome that there's been some confusion or some clarification requested as it relates to a petition that was submitted. We have received public comments on this issue. And I have briefed Carvin, and I've also sent you all an email in response to the city's requirements and or obligations as it related to the petition that was sent in back, I believe in August or September of last year. As I had forwarded you his email earlier, I will just hit the high points that the petition itself was a request for the mayor pro tem to step down, and that was simply a request. In type A general law cities, there is no provision allowable for recall of members of council. It is simply based on how you vote. So once you're voted into office, there is not a recall petition as would be in a home rule charter. So there's nothing given to us by the state that council would be able to take an action, even if that was the direction that they chose, to recall any member of council from their current position. Is that correct, Mr. President? So I'm bringing this back up just so that we can inform the community and make sure that everyone has a clear understanding about what we received, how it needed to be processed, and what the city's requirements were as it related to the laws given to us by the state of Texas. Any questions or comments? There's no action to be taken. I just wanted to make sure that we had informed the public as to what our duties were.
Let's move on to number 5, ordinance 2023-01, calling the May 6, 2023 general election for 2-year terms for council member place 1, council member place 2, council member place 3, and a 1-year term for council member place 5. Authorizing the city administrator to sign joint contract with Wise County for election services and setting meeting date to canvass the election.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is on your agenda as it is every year. We actually have 2 contested races this year for place 2 and place 5, and this will allow us to conduct the elections as per needed. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but it's fairly routine business.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Executive session, 632, section 551.071, consultation with attorney, pending or contemplated litigation, settlement offer, or to seek advice from attorney. RVR Economic Development Agreement terms update. And that will be with the city administrator. Is there anything else that we're going to? Good. Not wrong.
We don't have number 2, but we'll do that.
Okay. Number 3, 551087, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations to discuss or deliberate regarding commercial or financial information that the city has received from a business prospect that the city seeks to locate, stay, or expand in or near the city and with which the city is conducting economic development negotiations.
Mayor, I apologize. It's number 3 on discuss appointment and employment.
I'm sorry.
Here at the top of the paper, it's covering it up for you.
Okay. I should have read the whole thing. All right. 551.074 personnel, discuss appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or hear complaint or charge against officer or employee in executive session unless officer or employee requests a public hearing. Okay. Do I need to worry, Carver?
This conference will now be recorded.
I guess not. Can we, if we got a quorum, can we continue? All right. Okay, 7:10, we're back from executive session. Mr. Atkins tells me we have a quorum, even with one thing out of pocket. So I do need a motion to adjourn
Make a motion to adjourn.
and a second, please.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Okay, that's it. That's a wrap.